Westward. In the early spring of 1969, as I was into the final half of grade 13, my mother put out a request at dinner time for a family discussion and democratic decision. She announced that we should make a choice as to whether we wanted to put in a swimming pool in the backyard or take a family vacation out west. The vote went 3-2, and I was truly glad that the western trip won out. I didn't have much interest in the pool and was eager to explore the western part of the country. We were very familiar with our home province of Ontario and had made many trips to the Maritimes while visiting relatives, so this would be new territory. As soon as high school finished in mid-June, we flew to Calgary and rented a car. Watching the foothills and then the mountains rise up from the flat prairie was a dramatic and awesome start to the 3-week journey. My mother determined that we should enjoy a few special meals at notable places. Dinner was not in the budget, but we had a splendid lunch in the Banff Springs Hotel, a tasty brunch at the Fairy Tale Chateau at Lake Louise, and watched our father preside over the silver teapot as we took high tea at the Empress in Victoria. Our other meals were very much downscale, and my sisters and I still remember cringing and shrinking under the table at a pizza joint while our parents got up and waltzed in the tiny floor space to a favorite tune on the speaker system. The days were cool and often overcast or rainy, in contrast to what we would expect in Ontario's late June, but this never dampened our spirits. Every part of the trip was stunningly beautiful, from the deep emerald and startling turquoise of the lakes, to the giant trees, to the mystic mountains. Our trip took us from the cable car on Sulphur Mountain to the shoreline at Stanley Park, on ferries to Vancouver Island and south to Port Angeles, down the coastlines of Washington and Oregon with the famous Haystack Rock on Cannonball Beach, across through the Cascades and past the geysers of Yellowstone Park. Though the American part of the trip was interesting and the heaping plates of restaurant food were memorable, it was the Canadian West that had me captivated. We stayed a night at the Prince of Wales Hotel on the Canadian side of Waterton Glacier National Park. That evening, we sat mesmerized in the paneled lobby where a 3-story wall of windows faced out onto the mountains, and we daydreamed while a live string quartet added their magic to the atmosphere. Early the next morning, my father and I climbed the Bear's Rump Mountain while the others slept. I was never an athlete, and I was only able to puff my way up by telling myself that if my father could do it, so could I. I found out later that he was telling himself that if his daughter could do it, he should be able to do it as well. Our trip culminated with the Calgary Stampede, and I was truly sorry to see the mountains fall away from us as our flight lifted off and we headed back to Toronto. I kept a diary during that vacation and finished it by trying my hand at writing a sonnet. Though I might, with the benefit of years, like to change a few of the more awkward words in it, the poem still reflects my passion for our beautiful West. Mountain Sonnet. Erect beneath their glistening hoods of snow, they fling their stony faces to the sky, disdainful of the storm wind's shriek and cry, aloof from straggling riverbeds below. In variant green the trees around them grow, while tongues of azure glacier creep and try, with rushing, tumbling streamlets to defy the scarred, cragged, jagged flanks the mountains show. Though thousands since the first man stood in awe have found these peaks and felt their power dumb, or filmed flat fragments of the whole they saw to lure a million more who yet will come, for one brief flash in their eternity, their savage majesty belonged to me.